Introduction. In the movies, one punch knocks someone out. In reality, you might hit someone 20 times and they keep coming. When your life is on the line, you can't afford to waste time and energy on targets that don't work. Today, we're talking about where to hit when precision is impossible but effectiveness is everything. The problem: why most strikes fail under stress. Here's the reality about fighting under extreme stress: your fine motor skills disappear. Your hands shake. Your vision tunnels. That perfect technique you practiced in the gym? It's not going to work when your heart rate is at 180 beats per minute and someone is trying to hurt you. Incredibly, here's what makes it worse: most people aim for targets they've seen in movies. The knockout punch to the jaw. The dramatic headshot. These require precision you don't have under stress, and even if you land them perfectly, they might not work. In a real fight, you need to use the famous shampoo slogan, and you can see this on most shampoo bottles. The origin of this anecdote is a fictional one. The tale comes from a novel by Benjamin Cheever titled The Plagiarist, where a fictional advertising executive uses this strategy. However, the myth is likely inspired by the real-life work of Claude C. Hopkins, a famous advertising pioneer who worked in the early 20th century. Hopkins is known for a similar, but true, story involving Pepsodent toothpaste. He was a master of creating consumer habits. We can use this shampoo's success as a philosophy in our combat events. ID: target, strike, rinse, and repeat.
Do you know that the reason you're brushing your teeth today, just like billions of people around the globe, is all centered on one unique advertising strategy? Well, you have Claude Hopkins to thank for that. This marketing genius turned a flawed product into a success story within 2 years. You can thank him for the fact that most Americans have toothpaste in their homes, and you don't have to struggle through people with bad breath. So how exactly did he do it? Stick around as we explore in today's video how a marketing gimmick changed people's dental hygiene forever. Harnessing the power of habit in advertising. For so long, we have heard of the phrase that the customer is king. But what if something was able to turn it around and reveal that customers could be gullible instead? This was exactly what Claude Hopkins did. There is a reason why a lot of people are stuck on certain products and will continue to use them no matter how many other similar brands are out there. That's because it has become a habit that you can't get rid of easily. So, how are habits formed? Well, the book, The Power of Habit, explains this perfectly. It starts with the fact that it takes just a few steps to perform any action. The first one involves triggering our minds. Our minds need a cue of something like a button to start doing something regularly. When you wake up in the morning, chances are you feel very groggy and uninspired to start your day. But as soon as you have that first cup of coffee, you suddenly start to feel a lot better. So you have that trigger that you're not going to start your day right without a cup of coffee. This is what many brands have established in their consumers, and that's the clue to trigger people into drinking coffee. The next step is to actually perform the action after you've become successfully triggered. The cue will push you to search for that rewind that is instant alertness every morning. And so you'll keep on driving to the store every time you run out of coffee beans because of that final reward you're sure of.
We can use this philosophy in our combat events. ID: target, strike, rinse, and repeat. Your attacker might be on drugs. They might have an abnormally thick skull. They might just be tougher than you expected. You cannot afford to find out the hard way that your perfect technique doesn't work on this particular person on this particular day. You must remain flexible in your target selection. Train to see open targets with this rinse and repeat concept in mind. The strategy is high percentage targets that work. Target selection under stress is about 3 things: size, sensitivity, and accessibility. You want large targets that are hard to miss, extremely sensitive to impact, and readily available, regardless of how your attacker positions themselves. The eyes, a significant target area, impossible to condition against strikes, causing immediate panic and disorientation. You don't need to hit the eyeball, the entire eye socket works. Miss by 2 inches in any direction, and you still get the effect. Using a claw hand strike with your 5 attacking fingers bent but extended, you multiply the odds of you hitting the target. Also, realize, people don't do push-ups with their eyeballs. This obvious fact boils down to this genius realization that the same amount of attack pressure will work on everyone. This is why, in the scheme of all things targets, this particular one should be high on your striking list. Additionally, if you have a defender with a point, you can use it to strike the eyes. The mantra here is in and turn, and this will produce a horrific wound that should stop any aggression toward you. And realize, you didn't kill the opponent to stop their aggression. Hospital? Yes, but not mortuary. The throat, massive target zone from collarbone to chin. Any impact can disrupt breathing and cause an immediate shift in attention. They stop attacking and start trying to breathe. Again, using a more aggressive defender model, for example, an ice, can puncture the trachea, windpipe, or even hit major arteries in the neck.
Today, we're going to talk about kind of a cross between a blur and our old tool called the Typhoon. This is now called the ice. And the ice is smaller in stature, so you can hide it in your hand a little easier, but a little longer to help you get this point out and do your job. And of course, it has a kind of smushed, bulbous finger attachment. You can move it up, so it's between my little finger and my ring finger, or down where it's between the ring finger. It is not coming out of there. It's really nice design for when this gets wet or bloody. It gets slippery. So again, capture soft tissue in the back. You can also just rip right through necks. Anything that grabs you, you can rip right through. Rear neck and choke, you can rip right down through it, up through it. You can obviously use the point and drill in or rip down the arm. From grabs, you can enter in between the fingers and twist and turn them right off.
If you use the sharp end of the pommel to strike into the sides of the neck, and you have a good chance of hitting one of the carotid arteries, this can cause the attacker some serious outcomes. Also, not to be too graphic here, but if you do pierce this target, their blood will squirt out like a fountain. This scene can become a compelling psychological disincentive for any onlooker to join in attacking you. The knees, forward, backward, or sideways, any direction works. You don't need precision, just solid contact. They can't chase you if they can't walk. You can use the sharp point of a defender to attack this area, too. If you don't have a defender, it is best to use a pushing kick to strike the knee, thereby increasing the odds of inflicting damage. The temple, yes, a good solid strike with a defender can crush the bone in the temple region. This has multiple effects, depending on several factors. You don't need to worry about those factors, however, stay focused to achieve the best results. Remember, lather, rinse, and repeat. Here's the key difference: targets that create distance versus targets that stop threats. Eyes, temple, and throat stop the fight entirely. Knees give you the distance and time you need to escape. Choose based on your situation and your exit strategy. The tools, complete protection system. This is where your complete protection system proves its worth. Remember our formula. Confidence plus awareness plus training plus quality tools equals complete protection. Target selection is where the defender system really shines, because it's designed to be effective regardless of your precision under stress. With the Defender 1, you don't need pinpoint accuracy. The design focuses force effectively whether you hit center mass or slightly off target. That's the difference between a tool designed for sport and a tool designed for survival. You're aiming for the throat area? Even if you're off by several inches, you're still hitting something that's going to get their immediate attention. For those who may face multiple attackers or larger threats, the Defender Ice E provides the additional force transfer needed to stop larger opponents quickly. Enhanced leverage means each strike carries more authority. When you're targeting high percentage areas, that extra force can mean the difference between creating an opportunity and ending the threat entirely. Remember our complete system: your confidence gets you noticed as a hard target. Your awareness gives you time to choose your targets. Your training helps you execute under stress. Your defender ensures that when you do hit, it counts. The training, accuracy versus authority. Training target selection isn't about perfect accuracy, it's about effective authority. Here's how you develop this skill. Stress inoculation training. Practice your target selection after intense exercise when your heart rate is up and your hands are shaking. Can you still identify and strike your primary targets? This is where real-world effectiveness is built. Authority over accuracy. Instead of trying to hit a bullseye, practice hitting authority zones. The entire throat area, not just the Adam's apple. The whole eye socket region, not just the eyeball. Large, sensitive areas that work even when your technique isn't perfect. Decision training, set up scenarios where you have to choose your targets under time pressure. Multiple attackers, who do you target first? Confined space, which targets are accessible? This mental training is as important as the physical practice. Tool integration, practice with your defender until target selection becomes automatic. You shouldn't be thinking about where to hit, you should be reacting to what's available and striking with authority. In closing, when your life is on the line, every strike must count. You don't get points for style. You don't win awards for perfect technique. You survive by hitting targets that work, with tools that multiply your effectiveness, under conditions that test everything you've learned. The defender system isn't about making you a better fighter, it's about making you a more effective survivor. When you can't afford to miss, when precision is impossible, when authority matters more than accuracy, that's when your complete protection system proves its worth.
This way. On your knees, please. Stand up, please. Scratch your butt, please.
Next week, we'll talk about weapons of opportunity, how everything around you becomes a tool when you know how to see it. However, first ensure that your target selection tools are in place. Check the description for Defender 1 and Defender Ice specifications, as well as our Combat Series discount code, COMBAT. When it matters, every strike must count. Get the defender that matches your needs and your commitment to complete protection. Remember, size, sensitivity, and accessibility. Hit what works, not what looks good. Authority over accuracy, always.